Hey, hello everybody and welcome to this video. Glad you're checking it out. I'm Dr. David Hopkins. I am the author of the ebook Simple Truths, as well as the creator of the course, The Optimal Health System. And I'm just pumped that you're going to spend a few minutes here with me today. I want to tell you a little bit as we get going about my story in general. You know, I would say early on through my 20s and 30s, I was kind of a high flyer, really. I got my bachelor's, my master's, my doctorate degree. I rose from adjunct faculty to dean to vice president of academic affairs to a regional vice president of academic success. I mean, I ran all the way up the ladder, and I was chasing money. I was chasing all kinds of things. I had tons of energy. I was ambitious. I was moving forward, and life seemed like I was on a perfect track. But then things started to change a little bit for me. By the time I started to get in my 40s, I wasn't quite as energetic as I was before. I was starting to put on weight. My diet really sucked. There was a period of time in there where I'd get on a plane on a Monday morning and I wouldn't get home till Friday. I'd have Saturday to kind of recuperate. Sunday, I'd start getting ready to fly out again the next week. So my life kind of started to get a little bit crazy and overconsumed all kinds of food and drink, and I just was not on a healthy path. I wasn't on a healthy path mentally, physically, spiritually. I was slowly falling into that lethargic middle age time. And if those of you that have been there, you maybe can relate. You just don't have quite that same it thing you used to have when you were younger. But it really wasn't until the last few years, and especially this last July 7, 2020, in the middle of a pandemic. Found myself in the emergency room a second time in a few years, and again with intestinal abdominal issues. The first time I was in there, holy cow, they had to gut me like a fish. They cut me open. I had an intestinal blockage. It took, I hadn't ever really fully recovered from that. And then all of a sudden in 2020, in the middle of this stupid coronavirus pandemic, I found myself in the ER again, scared to death that I was going to face another one of these issues. It wasn't the same thing. It was something different this time. But I got pumped a bunch of antibiotics to get rid of some diverticulitis, and then I got pumped another round of antibiotics when that didn't fully solve it for prostatitis. It was a mess. It was a mess. And it was during this time, this incredibly low point, that I started to question, what am I doing to myself? What am I doing? What am I doing, not just physically, but intellectually? And why am I letting this stuff happen? And eventually I hit that spot where I said enough was enough. And I was gonna radically change. I just didn't know exactly how to do it. I didn't have the concept. So after I was out of the ER, and once I was kind of trying to recover from this, I started reading. Having a doctorate degree, research comes really easy to me. I've written 200 plus page books, so I wanted to figure out what I needed to do for myself to get myself right. And this was really the most eye-opening thing that I came across. This idea of complexity bias. I can't even remember the first time I ran across this while I was trying to figure stuff out. It's kind of a philosophical, argumentative type topic. But complexity bias really doesn't mean anything more than this. Human beings, you and I, we tend to seek out complex solutions to problem, and we tend to discredit and discard simple solutions. Now, it should be the opposite, right? And a lot of us say, no, that's not me. I'm always looking for the simple. We say it, but in reality, most of the time we don't act on it. Because we tend to dismiss things that are simple as being, oh, that's my situation is so hard. My situation is so complex. That's never going to work for me. That's just too easy. That's too simple. Well, in fact, very complex problems are most frequently solved by seeking out and taking the most simple solutions. This was rather revolutionary for me because through my health problems, I had been looking at things and I could find diets and I could find exercises and I could find, that sort of stuff. And I could see all these products that were being sold and these medications, and a lot of times they're marketed as cutting edge biohacking engineering type stuff. And the reality is those complex things tend to fail. But here's the big thing with those complex things. It gives you an automatic get out of jail free card. Because when things are really complex, we can just get frustrated and say, oh, that's too hard. Oh, that's too complicated. Oh, I woulda, coulda, shoulda done that only if this would have been explained better, but this didn't exactly fit into this thing exactly the way this very complex system said it was gonna. You get the idea, right? But when you come up with simple solutions, you either execute on them, or if you want to find the failure, you pretty much need to walk into your bathroom and look in the mirror, because that's the reason you failed. That's why people tend to avoid the simplistic stuff, because it's much easier, it's much simpler to make excuses when the complex fails than it is when it's simple or when it's easy. So complexity bias is important, and ultimately where I ended up was something called the optimal health system. Because again, I could find all kinds of product for the body, and there's all kinds of things on the mind, and you can download little apps to help you meditate, but what I discovered through my research is what you're going to learn in the optimal health system. You are made of 3 components. You are a mind, a body, and a spirit. Our goal for you to reach optimal health is to get your mind alert, curious, active, focused. Remember those days when you used to just wake up in the morning, get out of bed, and you were ready to go? We need to get your mind back there. We need you alert and focused and sharp and thinking critically, so that things that go on in our world don't bring us down constantly. So goes the mind, so goes the body. And so if we get our mind right, we're going to get our body right. And with our body, let's just face it, you may be carrying around extra pounds. We got to get that physical machine, that vehicle that's going to take you through life. We got to get that thing sharp. I don't mean kind of, sort of okay. We need to make it sharp. We need to make it functioning at a very high level. So we need to make sure what you put in your body is right. And then we also need to make sure you're exercising your body and we're moving and working your body. So there's certain things we need to take in. There's certain things we need to get rid of, because we're going to make your body healthy, strong, energetic. If we don't have our health, we have a big problem. Over 60% of the deaths in this country are preventable. They're based on stuff that we put in our body or what we don't do with our body, and we need to end it for you to be at optimal health. And then finally, we need to connect your spirit. You do not have to be religious, but you are more than just your intellectual self. You have a purpose. You have a inner being in you. You have a drive to achieve things, to be things, to do whatever. We need to tap that spirit. When we get your mind, your body, and your spirit functioning at a very high level, then you're going to achieve your best self, whatever that might be. whatever that might be. You just may be fascinated, love working your body, and that might be the focus of what you do. That's awesome. Maybe it's intellectual, maybe it's spiritual, I don't know. But you can't ignore one versus the other. I know a lot of people that are incredibly fit that are completely screwed up mentally. I know a lot of people that have financial success and are business driven and they focus with their purpose, but their health sucks. Their health is bringing them down. You can't segregate one versus the other. So we're going to work on all three of them simultaneously. That was maybe the biggest thing that I learned through all of this. And so there's 7 habits. There's 7 characteristics that you are going to start to do day in and day out. And yeah, you can do it and have a full-time job. Don't worry about it. I have one too. And here I am talking to you. And then here I am built this system. But we have 7 things that are going to feed your mind, feed your body, and feed your spirit. Last thing I want to talk about is this thing called the Permanentes Fallacy. So you can hear this and you say, yeah, that's nice, that's cool, that's great, I'm glad it worked for you. Yeah, you lost 37, 40 pounds, that's wonderful, that's great, but yeah, I'm going to think about it a little bit. The Permanentes Fallacy basically says this, that our mind tries to put fear into us, that it is safer to not take a step and not take an action than it is to step out and do something. It's usually fear, it's usually anxiety. Sometimes that fear might be a physical fear. Maybe you have some addictions in your life, whether it would be something so simple as food or something incredibly complex like alcohol or drugs or smoking or something like that. Maybe just that fear is a mental thing, an anxiety. Maybe you've tried programs in the past. You've tried other things, they failed. And you're gun shy from giving it a try. Or maybe your fear is that others just aren't going to accept the changes. And that's a real fear too. But the Permanentes Fallacy says this, even though your mind tries to tell you it's safer just to walk away and do nothing, the Permanentes Fallacy says actually your greatest, biggest danger that you have is the danger of inactivity, the danger of not stepping out, the danger of not trying. So what I tried to do with this optimal health system is I have a vision and a plan, and this is all based on me and my experience. And then I validated that with research and science and looking back at the ancients of things that work. They're true, they're proven, they're time tested. And then you need to put them into action. And that's your first step that you need to make today, and that's just to try it. There's a 14-day money-back guarantee. No matter what, you're not going to lose any money on it. If you just go for the basic plan, it's $49. Goodness gracious, you spend that out on one night out and on the town. Easy. It's nothing. I'm taking away anything that could prevent you from reaching your success. Because if you step out and you go ahead and you implement these 7 strategies that I'm going to teach you in the optimal health system, there's no way you're not going to succeed. It's just the way it is. And if for some reason along the way you just can't do it or whatever happens and you're not happy with it, I don't want your money. There's a 14-day money-back guarantee. I'll give you back every penny. So give it a try. I would love to see you join. Love to see you take that very first step towards optimal health, because I can tell you from a personal state where I was back in July 2020 versus where I'm at now, it is night and day different, and I will never, ever go back. And your future can be whatever you want to make it if you just go ahead and take that first step. So I hope to see you in class. Take care.